So after all of the backlash that Stephen Twitch boss's wife, Allison Holker, has received over the last week, including Stephen's own mother bashing her new book this far, it seems as if her daughter, Stephen Twitch boss's adopted daughter, is speaking out on her mother's behalf. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So it was just a few days ago that we reported to you that Stephen Twitch boss's widow, Allison Holker, did an exclusive interview with People magazine in promotion of her new book, This Far. And she revealed some shocking claims that Stephen may have been struggling with drug abuse. And apparently, she shared some of the abuses that he experienced as a child after reading his journals. Since then, she's received backlash from both friends and family of Stephen, including her mother-in-law speaking out, saying this. In a post on social media, Connie says, "Our family is absolutely appalled by the misleading and hurtful claims made about my son, Stephen Boss. The recent publications spreading untruths about Stephen have crossed every line of decency. As his mother, I will not let these accusations go unanswered." She says that we will not stand by while his name and legacy are tarnished. He doesn't deserve this, and the kids don't deserve this. For the last 2 years, I have remained quiet and away from the public eye to protect my family. Sidebar, a family member came out and a friend of Stephen came out and said Allison made the mom and other family members and friends sign NDAs at his funeral. She says, "My primary focus has been on healing and attempting to remain connected to my grandchildren. But when I read these dreadful claims about my baby, our beloved Stephen, I realized I could not stay silent any longer. Our family will ensure his name and memory are protected, and we are committed to defending his honor." Connie Boss Alexander. Allison Holker, after receiving a lot of backlash, also spoke out on her social media, basically saying that she understands people's feelings. However, her sole purpose in releasing this book and talking about Stephen's alleged struggles was to at least help someone else. And she believes that he would be okay with that. She also revealed that the proceeds from this book would be going to the charity that she set up in his honor. Well, now the backlash that she's received has not stopped. Now her daughter, an adopted daughter to Stephen, is speaking out. And according to Allison, she was the last person, her daughter was the last person to see Stephen. And the last words to her from him was that, "I wish I could be your superhero." Her at the time not realizing what he was about to do. Well, now in a video that she did on social media, his adopted daughter is speaking out. So I emphasize adopted daughter because some people are confused as to why she refers to him as Stephen instead of dad or, daddy. All right, so let me just play this for you. It's a few clips.
Act different for social media. It's like, I don't know. And I'm trying to be respectful, but I just think it's complicated because I speak to Stephen's moms. My mom and her were speaking weekly at some point. And I don't know if it's still like that. Like, me and my mom haven't talked about it. But since Stephen died, I feel like I've seen his family more than when he was alive. We would only see them once or twice a year. But you guys have to understand that it's because they live in another state. And things happen. We literally live in another state, and it's not like we're neighbors. It's not like we could just see them whenever we wanted. And now, my mom's constantly making the effort so that the kids are a part of, or not the kids are a part of their, wait, I was about to mess up my words. So the kids are a part of their lives. And my mom, these are all people that I've grown up with. And to see them now act different for social media, it's like, I don't know. And I'm trying to be respectful, but I just think it's complicated because I speak to Stephen's moms. My mom and her were speaking weekly at some point. And I don't know if it's still like that. Like, me and my mom haven't talked about it. But since Stephen died, I feel like I've seen his family more than when he was alive. We would only see them once or twice a year. But you guys have to understand that it's because they live in another state. Like, but that's just how I am. I feel disrespected by them, so I'm not going to talk to them. There were points where like the brothers would reach out to me, like my uncles and Connie, they'd be texting me, but I don't talk to them anymore. I feel completely disrespected. They've gone on social media saying that blood's thicker than whatever, and that's a direct dig at me and my mom. And if you don't see me as Steven's daughter, that's cool. That's like, take it how you want. That I know for a fact that's never how he saw it. And it's literally just hurtful. Y'all love to argue about the NDAs. Basically, not backstory, because like that's what the whole story is. But in one day, we had an open casket like viewing for Steven. We had a funeral, and then we had a wake. And my mom asked for NDAs to be signed when we were seeing Steven's body, because God forbid somebody that went to that took a photo of Steven and put it on the internet, or, you know, shared it with somebody else. That's the type of things that NDAs are for. It's not so you can never talk about Steven. You can't ever talk about, you know, you grieving him. You can't post about it. That's not what it is. And for all the people saying it, I just feel like you're uneducated. I'm sorry, but like truly, I'm fed up, because NDAs are so important. And if you guys don't agree, that's cool. I'm grateful for my mom making sure that everybody signed NDAs.
So I'll say this. I didn't see a big issue with maybe friends and family signing an NDA. I think a lot of people were upset that the mom had to sign an NDA. I didn't see a problem with the family member signing an NDA. It seems, especially because we have to remember, Twitch was a public figure. Twitch was on a huge platform. I mean, he wasn't just a dancer and a DJ. He wasn't just Ellen's sidekick. He was an executive producer of the Ellen Degeneres Show. He was on camera. That show alone made him huge. But also he was on So You Think You Can Dance. So I'm not completely shocked at people signing an NDA attending a celebrity's funeral. I think a lot of people were like, you asked the mom to sign an NDA? Although awkward, do you make his mother sign an NDA? And is that part of the reason why she hasn't spoken out before? And look, we haven't seen the NDA. We don't know if it really was for a period of time that they couldn't talk about it or release the photos of, you know, the funeral or seeing his body. We don't know. But it seems like if they did sign an NDA, it seems like, oh, we can't talk about anything surrounding Twitch. All right, let's continue watching this.
That whole day was supposed to be beautiful, and instead it was less than that. Like, we were gonna say our goodbyes, and instead people were yelling at each other and bashing my mom. And like, that's a day that's taken away from her, and she can't remember it as being the day that we all wanted it to be, because his family was making it otherwise. And like, when I say that this day, like, it's imprinted onto my brain. Like, one, because I had to say goodbye to the person that I loved and valued. But then on top of that, I'm having to deal with seeing my mom go through so much. Like, it's a different type of hurt, because these are people that we're supposed to love and value. And yet they're constantly doing things that make me see them as like less. Like, they're the ones impacting that image. But they're also the ones taking onto social media. So I just don't get it.
I know that a lot of people have strong feelings about Allison Holker coming out and speaking out. We did a separate video and I've expressed my feelings on the situation. I understand how people might feel like, we don't talk about these things in public. These things should not be discussed in a book. His personal journal should not have been shared. Again, we haven't seen the book. And I also believe in the power of, if you don't support this and you don't support what she did and you feel what she did is disgusting, you don't have to support the book. Easily, by not supporting the book, that is your form of protest. And I've seen people feel sort of distance themselves in regards to, like, you weren't his child. He adopted her, according to reports. He adopted her. I'm sure that he viewed her as his child. And I see her coming on social media because she's old enough to see, probably all over social media, maybe even in her own comment section, of people slamming her mom. Again, that is her mom. But we also understand when someone passes away, this causes a lot of drama amongst the family. Even though there may have never been drama before, things like this can cause drama. It's not just about, fighting over money, which could be something else that's happening here as well that they haven't talked about. But there's also fighting over the legacy, fighting over how should we proceed in regards to remembering Stephen? What should we share? And I'm sure the mom also didn't speak out, not just because of the NDA, because she didn't want to create a dynamic with Allison where she would not be able to see one of the things that she has left of Stephen, and that are his children. So I understand where Connie is coming from. She's just like, I didn't want to shift the balance and stop communication with Allison, because she could easily be like, you're not going to see my children, because technically she could do that because she is the only surviving parent. So I get Connie's position of just like, this is why I've remained quiet. But now Connie's saying like, but I don't want you to come out. And she probably didn't even confide in Connie. I don't know. The respectful thing would be to let Connie know, I am releasing a book. These are the things that I discovered. These are the things I'm going to share. My question to Connie was, did that conversation ever happen? And if it did, when did it? Did it happen right before the book was being released? Because out of respect, and I've shared my opinions on, Allison's right to share her story. She is a part of Stephen's story, and what she experienced wasn't her choice. She should be able to talk about. But if we're being respectful and we're talking about people being respectful for the children and being respectful to Stephen's mom, did that conversation ever happen? Because I honestly believe the conversation should have at least happened, because that is going to affect her. She shouldn't be blindsided by the fact of you telling a story about her son having these dark secrets. But I don't know. I'm just twerking on the fence per usual.
I don't know where it started, but I'm constantly getting comments being like, your mom didn't let Connie see the body for 3 weeks and something like that. But it's like, everybody who wanted to see the body had access to that information. My mom didn't want to. My mom, she stayed out of that. My mom didn't want anything to do, because that's a traumatizing thing. And so somebody else had that information to go and see Stephen's body from after he died until he was like, like they fixed up how he looked and stuff. But until that point, I remember like conversations being had of like Connie asking about it, but then everybody, literally everybody, being like advising against it, because that's your son, you might not want to go see him. But with that all being said, she could have completely on her own terms gone and seen him. My mom wasn't withholding information. I don't know where it started.
As we're talking about this, I feel so uncomfortable with that, because I don't know how old Weslie is. However, I think she's still a minor. I feel like now we have this teenager defending her mom, rightfully so, but it feels like now the teenager's involved in grown folks' issues, but they probably have involved her by kind of putting her in the middle, going on social media and talking about her mother. Here I go twerking on a fence again. So, but as she's talking about Connie, who is sort of like a grandmother to her, technically she is. If you adopt someone's child, I feel like all of that comes together in regards to the family. I'm not sure if that's how they've treated her. She says, based off their comments, it seems as if they're treating her a little bit differently. Okay.
My mom never said that Stephen was an addict. Let me say that. Never said that he was an addict. But if y'all want to take a headline for a news article and turn that into being the thing that you're paying attention to most, that's literally on you, right? But in our house, how he ran things, like, I'm his kid. He was trying to like teach me and educate, like obviously like be that fatherly role, right? So he'd be open and vulnerable about him smoking weed. Also, my mom's not calling him a terrible person for smoking weed. Like, guys, let's get it together. But when you have 2 years after somebody committed suicide to sit here and question every interaction you had, every single thing they did. Obviously, my mom's like, maybe I should have paid more attention.
She may not have called him an addict, but the insinuation that maybe he had other issues other than just with marijuana, she did talk about that. Again, we have not read the book. We're basing this off of an interview that she chose to do in promotion of this book. She says that she discovered all of these different types of drugs in shoe boxes in their own closet that she had no idea about. There are reports, I have not seen the toxicology report, but there are reports that there was no any drugs within his system at the time. So that doesn't mean that he didn't have a problem with drugs. It just means that that's not the reason why he died. We know how he died. But not calling him an addict at this particular point, I think we are speaking semantics. The insinuation that he might have had bigger problems with drugs was definitely there. So as you can see here, Twitch's cousin, shout out to the Shade Room. As always, we cite our sources over here. We had multiple people, a former friend of Stephen, come out and slam Allison Holker for the interview that she did with People Magazine. And Twitch's cousin spoke out at the time and says, yeah, I don't give an F about an NDA. This crazy woman made me and his actual family, including, sign an NDA just to even attend the funeral. She's been trying to tarnish his legacy and refuses to let the boss family see the children, only to exploit and lie on my cousin. Hell no. So it makes me wonder, has Connie, the grandmother, seen the children? I don't know. I think all of the stuff playing out on social media, I can't slam the family for speaking out on social media when you are working on a book and promoting a book on social media, on media outlets. And if any of that is true, they should be able to speak their piece as well. They have a side, they have their feelings. But one thing I will always say is that everyone here is grieving. Twitch's mom is grieving. Allison Holker is grieving. Allison wasn't some fly-by-night woman that Twitch was with. He was with her for years, adopted her daughter, had 2 kids with her. So let's not discredit her as the wife either. And I understand his mom, the cousins, the friends, the family. Some of this stuff might be hard to hear in regards to his issues, and are hearing that she's sharing things that she discovered in his journal. Everyone has been left with no answers, including the fans. This might help someone, even if it does help one person, even though I think that it will help more than one person. She says that that will be enough, and she believes that Twitch would be in support of that. This has been a highly debatable conversation that we've been discussing all week long here on the channel. If you missed our previous video giving you the full initial report and the live that we did where people called in and weighed in on some of these thoughts, be sure to check those out here on the channel. Guys, let's continue this conversation in the comment section. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
You bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll add the fuel. Follow my lead.